he could be one of those potential candidates to get that next step to becoming an elite pitcher. Hello and welcome to Blue Jays Today, where we always have something to say about the Blue Jays. I'm your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog. And today we're going to be talking about the trade that the Blue Jays made, and specifically the player that we acquired, and that was Taijuan Walker. We recently got that done. He had a great first outing with the Toronto Blue Jays. Before we break him down, please make sure to like and subscribe. Just, comment, do your thing. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Watch your stuff.
Yeah.
So let's talk Taijuan Walker because, we got him.
Mm-hmm.
He pitched well.
Who
is this guy?
Yeah, I was going to say, as soon as I got the update, I'm like, oh, Taijuan Walker. And I went, who are you?
Yeah.
I don't know. But he was drafted in the first round in 2010. And 43rd overall by the Seattle Mariners. And he's 28 years old, and he's played 8 seasons. So he made his debut when he was 20 years old.
Yeah, so he's definitely had a career up to this point.
Yeah, his career stats has been 3.91 ERA and a 1.25 WHIP. So decent. He's a good. Yeah. And we just got him from the Seattle Mariners. He's also coming off of a big Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, he is.
He got Tommy John, or he got injured in 2018, had to go through surgery through 2019, missed most of that season. But now this is his first year back and on the last year of his contract, which made sense for the Mariners.
Last year, but also first year too, because he actually signed a deal in 2020. It was a 1 year, $2 million deal with the Seattle Mariners, and it kind of sounds to me like it's a bit of a prove it deal. Like, you just had Tommy John. You've been out of baseball for roughly 2 years. What do you have left in the tank? And so far this season, he's been saying, I got a decent amount left. This year, so far in 2020, he's been pitching for an ERA of 3.27, very, very good. His WHIP is at 1.091, and he struck out 29 people through 33 innings. So, definitely solid, rotational. That's great numbers.
It's great for our lineup or our rotation, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And no one can argue with a 3.27 ERA. That's that stands on its own sort of thing. And in his first outing, he really showed what he had to offer. He pitched 6 scoreless innings. That's what we've been talking about. That's what we've been saying that we need. We need to, and that was gonna be a bullpen day. We traded for this guy. We got him in, and we saved some bullpen arms that day, and, we'll hopefully get to use them at a later date. So, getting 6 innings from that guy, gives us the flexibility to use Hatch, to use K, to use Baraki on a different day.
Yeah, we need quality starts. That's just straight up. If you want to be a postseason team, you got to have 3 or 4 guys that can give you 6 innings at least. And so far this year, it's just been Rio and the odd occasion from Shoemaker, but that's about it. And, I'm actually happy with this trade. It was very sneaky, and I like it. It's perfect for what we need as a Blue Jays club, where we're probably not giving up a whole lot. What we traded is a player to be named or cash. That's going to be determined depending on what happens this season, how Taijuan does.
I actually read a great article, and we should link it in the comments or in the caption below. But it was kind of talking about what player, speculating on which player we gave up and stuff, because it has been reported that the player to be named will be one of our top 30 ranked prospects. It will be one of those guys. And then he kind of went through and went through some different guys, and he went down to 3 different names, and I forget who they are now. But they were all position players, kind of ranked, somewhere in the 15 to 30 of our prospect ranking system.
That's fine with me.
And I mean, when I looked at it, I was like, yeah, this is okay. Any one of these guys, I would be okay with giving up. Yeah. We have a lot of depth at this position already, and what we don't have is starting pitching. So.
Yeah. I really want to protect the top 10, especially top 3. I don't really want to be messing around with trading one of those away for a really good pitcher, because if we're gonna trade for a really good pitcher, we got to give one of those away. And one of those names, which has been rumoring in the last days, like Clevenger or Lynn, and that's going to cost a big prospect.
Yeah. Clevenger would definitely cost something big. I don't know if he would cost like any of the top three. Like, I don't even think the management is willing to give up anything like that.
Can't do that.
But I know that like a lot of like a name that's been thrown around is Alejandro Kirk a lot, the catching prospect. Which, to be completely honest, like I would be okay with giving that guy up.
Oh, really?
Well, because we already have 2 young catchers right now. What are we going to do with this guy? Like, is he ever going to get to see the field? I don't know. Another
topic video would be, do we bring Kirk up and trade one of those other 2 away? Because they haven't been performing at all, on with the bat.
That is true. I guess I think maybe like if we could get a return on, this isn't even the topic of the video, but if we could get a return on Alejandro Kirk where you're getting somebody like, a Mike, like a Clevenger, I believe that I would absolutely like make that trade 100 times out of 10.
Maybe we sign Real Muto.
Yeah, I mean, whatever, right? But different video for different topic. Yeah. I want to touch on this guy a little bit more and talk about his career stats because, like, obviously this season he is performing very well. But, like, when I look deeper at it, like, he is, his career ERA, it's 3.91. I think you mentioned it. Like, his whip is 1.25. And I looked at some of our other pitchers, and I was like, so where does he rank? And he is very similar to a Chase Anderson, to a Tanner Roark. I think the difference for me is that he's still 28 years old, whereas Tanner Roark is 33 and Chase Anderson is 32.
I can see Walker like even growing further. And one of my biggest questions when I was like thinking of this guy, I'm like, oh, he's still young, he looks good, and like he's had an average career so far, and at 28 for pitching, he can make that next step. So whether he decides to sign back with the Jays, which of course I'd hope so. Or he decides, depending on how he does, or if he does really well and he wants to get that big money signing bonus, it's going to be interesting. He could take that. He could be one of those potential candidates to get that next step to becoming an elite pitcher.
Well, what's interesting is that his best season was in 2017. I look back, and he had an ERA of 3.49 in that season, but he also had an expected batting average of 245, which isn't actually that great when you think about it.
It's like average.
What was different in that season compared to all of his other seasons is that he really lowered his barrel percentage. So then I looked at this season and I was like, oh, his barrel percentage is very similar to the number that it was at in 2017. So if he could be, kind of repeating on those numbers and giving us like a 3.5 ERA sort of guy, then I'm like super down for that. And if we could sign him back, being 29 when I guess he gets signed back, like that'd be a pretty solid deal for us, depending on how much money and the length and all of that.
And here's another thing that I think could be a sign that he's kind of taken a new, different approach in his pitching.
Sure.
So he's mainly a fastball cutter, changeup, curveball pitcher. Curveballs it's like 7% of the time, changeup's like 18, but he's mainly fastball cutter. And his whole career, he's predominantly in the fastballs around like 40% of the time. But this year, it's surprising how much more he's using his cutter. So last year, or in 2019, 18, 17, his cutter averaged around 6.7% of the time, and his fastball was way, way higher. Now this year, his cutter is 22.9% of the time.
Well, he's very similar. Like a lot of pitchers that were kind of similar to him was Tanaka, Porcello, some of those guys who aren't going to beat you with the velocity, the fastball velocity, but they have a lot of pitches in the arsenal. And I think the reason why he switched over is because I did a little background and I wanted to see, okay, this guy had Tommy John. What did that do? So in 2017, he was pitching, like his average fastball pitch was somewhere around 95, 96. Tommy John did a number on him. He did lose a couple miles per hour, and since then it's been somewhere in the 92, 93. That's not ideal, but it is good to see that he's adjusting as a pitcher and realizing that, okay, I no longer have that 95, 96 blow me away pitch. I need to adjust and get a couple other pitches into my arsenal so I don't get blown up. So that's good to see, you know?
And I'm a big fan of the cutter. Like the cuttering on the hands is one of you see, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting, the last 42, Rivera. He was the last 42 closer for the Yankees, and he would always throw the cutter in on the hands, and it would baffle batters. You couldn't hit it. You couldn't square it up. So that's a good sign to see as well that he's actually making those adjustments. And so I got a question, Nick, just for because we traded for Taijuan Walker. Yeah. And we got the starting pitcher. Is there anything else that the Jays need before Monday's trade deadline, which this video will be up on Monday? Is there anything that the Jays need before then to really finish our team?
More starting pitchers.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, like, because here's the thing, guys, is like, okay, we have Ryu, and now we have Taijuan Walker, but Taijuan Walker, he's not an ace at this point. He's a rotational guy. We have one, ace, and then we have rotational guy, kind of, we don't know, hole at number 5 spot right now. Another pitcher would definitely be great, and I know we've thrown around a lot of names like Lance Lynn, like Mike Clevenger. That would be beautiful. Personally, they are playing a lot better now, so it's like...
Yeah, they're 18-14.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's just, I don't want us to get a false sense of confidence right now and being like, all right, let's sell it all and go for it.
That's the thing.
Unless, we actually win. And in which case, then that was the great move, Yeah. I remember when the Raptors, they fired their coach and they, traded for that 1-year deal on Kawhi. And there was a lot of fans being like, okay, Kawhi's a great player, but I don't think we're ready for this. Yeah. And then they won. And, you can't say anything about it because they actually won. Yeah. So I think that it's such a hard position to be in right now because you want them as a fan. I want to see Mike Clevenger to the Blue Jays, or Francisco Lindor to the Blue Jays.
I want to see a big move. I want to see it, but at what expense?
Exactly. At what expense, future? And what does it mean, moving forward, cap wise, money wise? That's all yet to be determined. So on the surface, my answer is another starting pitcher. What caliber of that pitcher, I'm not sure.
Yeah, and another funny thing that I was thinking about, I remember a few videos ago, a few podcasts ago, I remember saying I want to go to outfield depth guy, but here's the thing now, we have Gurriel, Hernandez who's hot as ever, Grichuk who's hot as ever. I don't want to move those guys right now. I don't want to put them on the bench.
At this point, I don't see really
There's
a
no
reason to be doing that. I know that one guy that we've talked about, or not we actually, but people have been rumoring to be talked about is how do you say his first name? Andrelton Simmons. Off of the Angels, and that'd be nice. He'd play shortstop basically while Bo was injured, and then Bo might move to second, and he's doing pretty well this year. That would definitely be a nice bat to have. I'm definitely not as high on him, I think, as a starting pitcher again. But
all our moves, honestly, it's gonna be two things, guys. We're either gonna play it safe, get mediocre guys who can fill out lineups because we need depth in our lineups, pitching and batting. We just need more depth, or we go all in and we get Mike Clevenger and Lindor, which probably is the most unlikely scenario.
Here's the thing. I think that just by looking at this player, we've already determined what we're doing here.
Average.
We are playing it safe. We just got a guy for a 1-year deal on $2 million, and we're giving away, our 20th ranked prospect. Yeah. We're not giving away that much. We're getting a guy who's not going to cost us a lot of money, but we're taking a shot and being here's some stuff that, could help you win. Go do your thing. If you want to win. But, we're not ready to really sell the ship on this.
Yeah. I think everyone is well aware, but what's great is that the players want to win. And that's that mentality that's got to start rubbing off. Everyone's starting to heat up a little bit. Everyone with the bat is starting to get going, except for our no-names in the bottom half. Sure. So I'm excited. I'm really excited to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see more of Taijuan Walker, and I'm excited to see what the Blue Jays decide to do in the last remaining hours of the trade deadline.
Yeah. All right, guys. So what do you think? Who do you want to see come join the Blue Jays? And do you think we should sell it all, or maybe play it safe? Let us know in the comments down below.
And please make sure to check us out on Spotify, Breaker, Anchor, Radio Public, and Google Podcasts. And check us out on our Instagram and subscribe to the tube.
And thanks so much for watching.
Go Jays, go!